Good evening, I am Horace Ford. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Trustees of Florida Memorial University, and it is indeed an absolute distinct pleasure and honor to serve as the honorary chair of this committee, which has put together this event for this evening to recognize the one and only Mr. John W. Ruffin Jr. Let's give him a hand, please. And I'm just advised that he just stepped into the restroom, so, still a little bit of time. We're going to do a toast, okay, but there was this, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed because there was just so much sin there, right? And the instructions were, don't look back. When you leave, don't look back. So this was being told to a Sunday school class with kids about 10, 12 years old. And so when the story was finished, one of the little boys said, teacher, we were in the car with my aunt and my cousin and I were in the back seat. We were just fighting. And my aunt looked back and she turned into a telephone pole. So instead of a pillar of salt, she turned into a telephone pole. But the story is unique to the extent that you don't look back. You don't look back. And the essence of this whole event is that we have a person who has looked forward all of his life and has been very aggressive in terms of his overall goals and objectives. He set patterns for people that he didn't even know he was setting patterns for. And so I want to say that there are certain times in life that you have an experience where you don't expect it. You don't expect certain things to happen. I didn't know I was going to be friends with John Ruffin. When I first met him, it was not a mutual admiration society. It was not. But I got to tell you, it was intriguing that as years went by, he was a Kappa and I'm an Alpha, and the two don't mix, I can tell you that. But we went past that barrier. We went past that barrier and truly became friends. When I say friends, I mean it in the true sense. Not acquaintances, not buddies, but friends of the highest level. And I have extraordinary respect for this man. And it's my pleasure and my distinct honor to have been part of the process for him to receive this honorary degree this evening. And I just have to say that his family has been extraordinarily supportive. I've met all of his family, his daughters and daughters-in-law and sons, and I have to say that there's a unique experience with that as well. His wife, Dottie, I met some years ago working with the Martin Luther King Jr. Committee in Coral Springs. She was the one who established that committee, one of the original members, which shows again that this is a family of service, not just looking for things to be given to them, but to give things to other people for which they've received extraordinary rewards. And so I just wanted to say that we're going to make a toast to him right now. I'm not going to kill time for anything more because I'm going to make some comments upstairs. I don't want to say everything I have to say right now, but at any rate, let's lift our hands and our glasses to Mr. John W. Ruffin Jr. Here. We're going to transition now into the theater, and there's a special program that's been put together, and I think you're going to enjoy yourselves very, very much. I think you're going to enjoy yourselves very, very much. So please accept my thanks for your coming here this evening. It's been very positive to show up, show your support, and we look forward to an extraordinary event as we go forward. Thank you very much. Thank you.
One day Good evening, everyone. Let's give another round of applause to our Ambassador Corral. My name is Japhus Hardrick, and I have the privilege of serving as the president of this great university, Florida Memorial University. It is truly my honor to say welcome here for this special occasion to honor a ubiquitous leader who is truly an outstanding individual that is known no matter where you go across this country. It is truly my honor to have known him for such a time over the past several years, to get to know him intimately. He is truly an inspiration to me, and I hope he's an inspiration to many of you. Let's show some love for none other than Mr. John Ruffin. At this time, I would like to take a moment and ask all of our trustees, Board of Trustees, will you please stand? Our current Board of Trustees as well as our former Board of Trustees, will you please stand so that we can honor you? And we also have some dignitaries in the house, politicians and other great friends. Will you please stand so that we can recognize you as well? It is truly an awesome time to be here at Florida Memorial University. And one of the things that Trustee Ruffin would always say to me, Mr. President, I want you to lead this university and take us to new levels. And that's what I'm committed to doing. Bringing stability, integrating this university into the greater community, and elevating its prominence on a global level. It is truly my honor to do that and to serve in such a capacity. And so, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please help me to welcome our current Board of Trustee, Mr. William McCormick. Let's show him some love as he comes.
Good evening. Matthew chapter 23, verse 11 reminds us that the greatest among you shall be your servant. This evening, the Florida Memorial University family and the greater South Florida community convened to honor the service and contributions of one of our great servants and benefactors. The greatness of Mr. John W. Ruffin, Jr. goes beyond his career or business success. His greatness is most evident in his commitment to serve our community and ensure that our children have the opportunity to replicate and surpass his success. Trustee Ruffin has consistently invested in one of our community's most valuable assets, our children. Children may only make up 23% of our population. They will, however, represent the 100% of our future. Through Trustee Ruffin's service and example, our future remains bright. This evening, we are memorializing his contributions to Florida Memorial University and the greater community. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our occasion. This evening, Minister Angela Prim, who has performed with musical giants like Andre Crouch and Patty Austin. Minister Angela Prim joined us from Nashville, Tennessee, to perform Corinthian Song. we can do better than that, man. Come on. I now invite Mr. Maurice E. Jenkins, the Executive Vice President and Chief Development Officer of UNCF, to the podium for special remarks.
John has been a strong partner and an advocate for HBCUs and UNCF in particular. John served to UNCF dates back to like 1985 when he began his journey in South Florida. But along with that journey, he saw the support that was needed for the community. And so we're grateful for that. UNCF benefited from that. We raised money through fundraising activities, through governor's luncheons, and through the special TV show. I remember the first time that I came to Broward County, and I can't remember the building we were in, but we were on the top floor, just real high class, you know. Some country club. It was just in the sky, all I remember. And he was hosting, Dottie and them, they were hosting the Lou Ross Parade of Stars telethon party as we were raising money during that period. He was always there, always supported, to the point that I realized that I needed to move the UNCF office from Miami to Broward County, because that's where the support was. And so we were grateful for that. And he went on to chair our campaign for a number of years until he decided to retire. And before that, even after he informed me that he was retiring, I informed him that our work is not over yet. And so he said, okay, gracefully, and continued as he, in 2013, he was honored to serve as in UNCF and raised $100,000 endowment scholarship that was established in his name, the John W. Ruffin Jr. Endowed Scholarship Fund. And that scholarship will provide students to attend Florida Memorial University and Nova Southeast University and award $5,000 per academic year. Throughout the years, John has been awarded and honored on numerous of times and all occasions, but we can never thank him enough for the impact that he has made in this community, in this landscape of HBCUs. So I'm honored to be here today on the behalf of the United Negro College Fund, Dr. Michael L. Lomax, our president and CEO, to say to this hero, thank you for supporting historical black colleges and universities. I always take the honor of saying that John was working and serving with UNCF, and a smart president over here at Florida Memorial saw him. And next thing I know, John was on a trustee. They were wise by that. They were wise by that. And so I stand before you today to say to all of you, many that I know throughout the years, John has served almost 35 years of service with UNCF. 35 years. And so I am so blessed to have him. I've been with UNCF now 29 years, so he's been there the entire time that I've been there, and he's been my partner in this. So I grant this today as his day for us to say just thank you for reaching back and bringing someone along the way. If I can help somebody, then my living will not be in vain. And he is a living witness of that. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this evening you have the distinct honor of being the first audience to preview a film that dramatized a true and critical moment in our history in America. I now call Ms. Dorothy Walton Ruffin to the podium to introduce the film director.
Good evening. For many years, I have sat on committees interviewing young people seeking scholarships. On one occasion, I was taken aback by a young man. He sat there so self-assured, so confident and focused. And I said to myself, this is a winner. I must introduce him to John. As we conversed with him, I found out life had not been easy for him. It had been filled with many hardships, but at each one he regrouped and kept striving toward his goals. Devin is a winner. At Florida Atlantic University, he was a leader. He apprised young people of the perils of HIV. Devin went on to appear in films, on television, on radio, and he wrote 2 books. But what is so amazing is he has traveled the world as a motivational speaker. He is also a poet, and now he's a filmmaker. It is my honor and my privilege to present to you Devin Robinson, Egypt. He is not only a mentee of ours, he is part of our family, and we are so very, very proud of him. Devin?
Well, I have the distinct pleasure of being a part of this family, but also getting a chance to be a part of history. Just going over the program and just listening to everyone, realizing that Mr. Ruffin and Mrs. Ruffin have actually been changing the world longer than I've been alive, which is a powerful thing to say, because they've shown us that your legacy can outlive you as long as you're daring enough to care for other people. What we decided to do a couple years ago was to create a film about Black Wall Street that happened, and it's a beautiful time that occurred in Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 1900s. So there's a city called Black Wall Street, and also Greenwood or Little Africa. And it was a beautiful town where black people were self-sufficient. As a matter of fact, that black town had more wealth than the white town. Courtesy of anger and lies, the white people eventually burnt the town down, but the black people didn't give up. They eventually rebuilt the town, and then the town later decayed courtesy of integration and the building of Highway 244. But we wanted to honor that story. We wanted to let people know the people who made a difference, and let those individuals know, those ancestors understand that we didn't forget you. So today we're just showing you all the trailer of it, but at November this year, we will actually finish the feature film version. And the feature film version is going to show you everything that you need to know about Black Wall Street, but leave you with one lasting memory. What you can do today to rebuild Black Wall Street. Not just remembering the past, but how you not only can recreate the past, but even better it. So without any further ado, I present to you all the trailer for Tranquil Inferno. Thank you. Amen.
As we pause to celebrate Mr. Ruffin's life's work and service, help me to welcome Dr. Ronald Smith and Minister and Board Secretary Horace Hord Jr. to the podium. They will share reflections on their personal experiences with our honoree.
For those of you who know John, he was GQ. I mean, he was just dressed to impress. He had a presence about him, just that anybody who saw him walked around and didn't know him, you had to inquire to find out, well, who was this man? Because he looked, not like the belle of the ball, but he looked just dressed in his eloquence and how he spoke and carried himself. He was way ahead of everybody else. And so I inquired to kind of find out a little bit about who he was. Later that year, I ran into him and first actually met him at a Cornell University reception honoring our president at the time, Frank Rhodes, who was on a tour raising funds. And that was the first time I actually got to meet John, and it turns out that we actually had something in common. We both were alumni from Cornell University, and as he will tell you, at different points in time, but we both did our masters there. It wasn't until 1999 when the Reverend Dr. Maurice Dawkins thought that John and I should get together. John had some great ideas. Dr. Dawkins knew that I was doing workforce development here in Broward County, and he was trying to restart and re-energize the OIC chapter in Miami-Dade County, and he wanted to start a chapter in Broward County. He thought that John and I were the two people who could help make that happen. John, and don't worry, John, I'll share your favorite line with everybody in a moment. John has been a mentor and friend for 20 years. We've been there for each other through good times and through not so good times. And I can honestly tell you, I've been to more meetings as John's sidekick than one can imagine. People used to ask me, what does Mr. Ruffin do for a living? What does he do? And I would tell people, we attend meetings. Because to be honest, I really didn't know, but we went to a lot of meetings. Went to meeting after meeting. It's like, Ron, take notes on this one. Watch that person over there. Just listen. And John was amazing how he would do that. And then when he was on the Internet Coach Committee, he was the chair of the Digital Divide Committee, about early 2001, 2002. And he came up with this idea that with all this new computer and technology companies doing things in South Florida, that he wanted to get people to donate computers, get them refurbished, and give them out to people in the community. He also wanted to do some training to make sure that people who might not otherwise have an opportunity to get jobs in the technology fields would have an opportunity to do so. He was a visionary. He still is a visionary. And he did great things. And so what happened? Governor Bush was coming to a meeting that month, and he had an envelope in there with a grant. Well, supposed there was a grant in there, an application. But he basically told the governor that was going to submit a proposal up to Tallahassee and that we needed funds in South Florida to help people. Governor Bush gave us $1.6 million just on John Ruffin being bold enough to ask, and for a group of people out there wanting to go out there and do the work. And the corporate partners in the community, they donated computers. I think it was well over 700 or 800 computers were donated, refurbished, and then put out in community centers and given out to families who may not have otherwise been able to afford one. That's leadership. That's vision. That's being selfless. John didn't have to take me under his wings, but he did. And he's helped countless others along the way. John and Dottie embraced me like a member of the family, and I will forever be grateful. You know, John likes to tell people that when he first met me, he didn't like me. And it's probably true. You know, and I think I had to take a lot of years to get him to really like me and to grow into me as a person, as a friend, and as a member of the family. Today, John, I can sincerely say, will tell you that I am a member of the family. He considers me family. We've gone through a lot together. We've been there for each other. And the love that we've developed over the years, it's special. It's a special bond. And it's an honor to be considered part of the family. And so, John, on behalf of the people that you have mentored, helped, or uplifted, I say thank you, because you have truly been a blessing to us all. My mom and dad send their well wishes from Fresno. They could not make it here tonight to be with you. And I just want to say, finally, I love you, John and Dottie, and thank you for allowing me into your family. God bless.
Good evening again. I'm Minister Horace Hord, Secretary of the Board of Trustees for Florida Memorial University. And I have no prepared remarks. However, I want to tell a story that John shared with me not too long ago, actually. There was a husband and wife who had two beautiful daughters. They were extraordinarily beautiful. And wherever they went, people would stop and they were just impressed with how beautiful these little girls were. And so the husband said to the wife, he said, honey, I would love to have a son. Can we just try one more time for a son to carry my legacy? And so she said, okay. So they did what they had to do, and 9 months later, a son was born. And so the father went to the hospital and went into the delivery room, and he looked at the son. He says, what? He said, my God, this is an ugly baby. He said, this is the ugliest baby I've ever seen in my life. He said, honey, we have these two beautiful daughters, and everybody stops us whenever we go anyplace, and they're just in awe of how lovely they look, and this is an ugly baby. He said, have you been messing around on me? And she looked at him very pensively and said, not this time. So that gives you an idea who John Ruffin is, okay? Actually, I got that joke from a priest in Nassau, Bahamas, to be quite honest with you, okay? But I have to say that life is very unique. And my first encounter with John Ruffin was meeting him even before we were on the board of trustees here. A very casual meeting, and as I said earlier, it was nothing of any special elements of any kind. But what was interesting is when we both came onto the board, I began to drive with him to our board meetings. Now, it should have been that he was driving me, but I was driving him, because I'm older than he is. And I would actually go north to go west. But it was an interesting experience, because I began to learn who this man really is. One of the trips that we were on, he was saying to me, Horace, I don't think that I'm doing as much as I should do. He said, I don't think that I'm really mentoring the way that I should mentor, and I feel like I can do much more. I said, John, I said, you know, you've done more than you can imagine. There are people that you've touched that you don't even know you've touched. He says, you really think so? I said, I'm telling you that that's a fact. There are people that you've touched, you don't know you've touched them. So we come into the meeting's over, walk out, and we're standing just chatting. And one of the students walks up. He's a very exceptional student, as a matter of fact. And he walks up and he comes up to say hello to me. I knew him. And I introduced him to John. He said, I said, this is John Ruffin. He said, Mr. Ruffin? I said, yes. He said, you gave me a scholarship. Now, John looked at me and he said, wow. He said, you were right. He said, I don't know who I've touched, and he doesn't know who he's touched. The man is deserving of every honor that he gets. I had the good fortune to be in the position of the chair of the governance committee on the board, and I'm the one that puts the names forward to be officers of the board. And at the time, John was serving as the vice chair. But he said he didn't think that he was able to really do the job as effectively as possible. His energy wasn't quite as high as it was before. And so we wanted to keep him on the board. But I said, perhaps we should discuss this. And I had a conversation with the former chairman of the board, Mr. Charles George, and we discussed the possibility of giving John an honorary degree. And he had teased me before, saying, you know, Horace, we worked so hard with this board, and things have been so tough, they should give us an honorary degree. And so I had a discussion with the committee, and I said, why don't we retire John from the board? It's his time to come off the board, and give him an honorary degree. And all of a sudden, everybody said, what a great idea. And so we presented it to the full board, and it was 100% approved immediately. So there's no better man that deserves this honor that he's getting this evening. And I just have to say that it's been my distinct pleasure and privilege to be one of his friends. When I say friend, I'm talking about a true friend. So please accept my thanks for being able to serve as the honorary chair of this committee putting this event together. I want to thank Mr. Zachary Rinkins and the team here at Florida Memorial who actually arranged for this event. And just, I want to say to John, peace be with you, and peace be with you as well. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome once again Minister Angela Prim.
I think a life worth lived is worth celebrating. Can we have a little church today? Is that all right? I'm just a church girl and talks about his greatest reward will be in heaven. Come on, right here. Lord, you know now the day when the Lord shall call your soul away. If you're laboring, striving for the right, you shall wear a golden crown. Oh, I shall wear a crown. I'm gonna wear a crown. Let's turn this time. Ooh, I shall wear a crown. I'm gonna wear a crown. No, for he's coming, and you know not him. Keep your lamps on, trimmed and burning bright, and you shall wear a golden crown. Oh, I shall wear a crown. I'm gonna wear. I shall wear a crown. When that trumpet sound, when the trumpet sound. I shall wear a crown. I'm gonna wear a crown. Yeah, yeah. I shall wear a golden crown. Yeah, yeah. I shall wear a crown. I'm gonna wear a crown. I shall wear a crown. When that trumpet sounds. Oh, I shall wear a crown. I'm gonna wear a crown. Yeah. I'm gonna lay down my heavy burden. I'm gonna put on my robe. Glory. I'm gonna shout and tell them my story. As soon as I can see Jesus, I'm gonna tell him all about my trouble. I'm gonna put on my robe and glory. I'm gonna shout and tell him my come over hills and mountains. Drink from the crystal fountain. All of the sons and daughters gonna drink from the healing water. Soon as I can see Jesus, I'm gonna tell him how I made it over. I'm gonna put on my robe and glory. I'm gonna shout and tell him, yeah, 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 yeah. I tell you what, I'm gonna wear that crown. Yeah. Oh, I know. When Gabriel blows his horn, yeah, I'm gonna wear a crown. Zion, I'm gonna lay down my head, burden. I'm gonna put on my robe and glory. I'm gonna shout and tell them my story, because I come over hills and mountains, drink from the crystal fountain. All of the sons and daughters, we're gonna drink from the healing water. Yeah, yeah. Golden, a golden. I'm gonna wear golden, golden. God's crown. I'm gonna wear a crown. Yeah. Oh yes. Hallelujah. Oh Lord. Woo. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord.
And now the moment we've all been waiting for. I am pleased to welcome Dr. Adrian Cooper, our Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, to the podium. Dr. Cooper will transition us into the academic ceremony.
Board members, Mr. President, Florida Memorial University community, ladies and gentlemen. Raised in the Deep South, Mr. John Ruffin, Jr., transcended racial hostility, low expectations, and meager opportunities to graduate from Morgan State University and later Cornell University as a Campbell Soup Company scholar. Mr. Ruffin started his career as a management trainee at Grand Union. He embarked on a storied career with distinguished stints at some of the nation's most successful companies and rose to corporate vice president at the Food Fair Pantry Pride grocery chain in South Florida. As an entrepreneur, Mr. Ruffin led a group of investors that acquired WRBD 1470 AM, a radio station that catered to and empowered North Broward County's Black community. As a philanthropist and community leader, Mr. Ruffin has served as a board chairman of the Urban League of Broward County and helped raise millions of dollars for the UNCF's efforts in South Florida. He also founded the John W. Ruffin Jr. UNCF Endowed Scholarship. Both he and his wife, Dorothy, are launching the $100,000 J.D. Ruffin and Associates Endowed Scholarship here at Florida Memorial University. Additionally, Mr. Ruffin joined the Board of Trustees at Florida Memorial University in 2002. He concluded his board tenure as the immediate past vice chairman and transitioned to emeritus status. Mr. Ruffin truly exemplifies the Florida Memorial University virtues of leadership, character, and service. His life's work and commitment to serving others are an inspiration and example to us all. Mr. President, I present Mr. John W. Ruffin, Jr., a candidate for the Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa. Will the candidate please stand?
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the faculty of Florida Memorial University, I am pleased to present to you and the audience this candidate for the honorary doctorate degree. Upon the recommendation of our faculty and the authority invested in me by our Board of Trustees, I confer upon you, Mr. John W. Ruffin, Jr., the honorary doctorate in humane letters, with all rights, privileges, and obligations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is truly my honor, my distinct honor, to present to you Dr. John W. Ruffin, Jr. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. This is truly an honor for Dottie and me, for this has been our journey together. Simply want to say that Florida Memorial University has been a real rewarding experience for me. It hasn't been easy. It's been work. And you are truly rewarding me this evening with such a high honor. I do want you to know that Dottie and I have determined that we want to leave a legacy here into infinity. So we are presenting to the Florida Memorial University a J.D. Ruffin Associates, Inc. $100,000 endowed scholarship. And we want to thank you who have contributed and your presence here today for assisting us in being able to complete this pledge and commitment. We will do this, and I have a check someplace that I'd like to show. The money is in the bank. The money's in the bank. It's done. But we thank you for all the support over these 35 years, right, Maurice? Yes. That we have been involved. And I used to tell Maurice, you know, I didn't go to a UNCF school. I went to a Thurgood Marshall School, Morgan State. But we didn't have a presence here in South Florida, so they grabbed me and I've been here ever since. And we'll continue to be with you. I want to say, too, that the leadership that we have here at Florida Memorial, I am truly very excited about our chairman, McCormick, our president, Hodrick. These gentlemen are two of the most outstanding and strong and brilliant leaders. And I'm happy to move on to make space for them to do their job and to get it done. And Dottie and I remain with you to support you in any way that we can. But you'll have 2 Ruffin scholarships to draw upon. And I'm just going to say this. Some years ago, when Dr. Smith was here, he talked about the gap. And the gap was that amount of money that these students oftentimes needed to complete their degree, complete their studies. And that gap was about $500. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was the difference between a degree and not having a degree. And that is what we're here now to deal with. And I have to recognize my leader, Chairman George, because he and I worked together like hen's teeth. And we got a lot done. Some of it got ugly. But we did what we had to do, and I was his hatchet man if I had to be. And Chair Lady Herring, I was there for you. You didn't need me that much, so. But we thank you, and we won't belabor this. Thank you so much for coming out and recognizing this. This does mean a lot. Our parents, Dottie and my parents, would be very happy for this honor. So thank you.
Take a photo with the check. It's more for you.
I don't want to move too much. Okay.
Just come to him.
Okay, great. Okay. And thank Chairman Horde here, too. for his meticulous leadership in this effort. Thank you, sir.
Our pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, behind every great man is truly an awesome woman. Let's stand and show some honor to none other than our very own Miss Dottie Ruffin. As we close, I want to say thank you to Trustee Horde for his leadership on this project and this opportunity. I also want to give a round of applause for the staff members who worked so hard to put all of this together. Mr. Zach Rinkins, Ms. Rachel Turner, again, the staff members who are here in our Performing Arts Center, and so many others. Let's show them some real love, please. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. And we want to say thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much to the Ruffin family, Dr. John Ruffin, Jr. Okay. All right, so I've been told there's a special presentation, so hang tight.
Good evening. It's an honor for me to be here with you this evening. I'm Dale Holness, serving as the Vice Mayor of Broward County. And it's really an inspiration. And John's always been that to many of us. Some close and some from afar. But I can tell you that the people of Broward County are grateful for your service and your dedication to Broward County. And with that, I thought it fitting that we honor you on behalf of all the people of Broward County today for the work that you've done over time. John is a businessman who actually has business in the airport and been there for a little while and has helped so many along the way with being a mentor. So I have a proclamation today that I won't read every word off. And to the president of this great institution, let me say that even with my work with the United Negro College Fund each year as the co-chair, standing here today seeing the need that exists, I'm hoping to enlist my fellow black elected officials, and I know one is in the order, Mayor Rogers. I think she's still here. I really think that, Mr. President, that we ought to sit down with those electeds in Broward County to see how we can further partnership and strengthen this great institution. This proclamation is requested by Vice Mayor Dale V.C. Holness, Broward County, and it reads, whereas John W. Ruffin Jr. was raised in the South during times of high racial tension. Whereas being a fast and creative thinker would propel John throughout his career to many highly coveted management positions in white-owned corporations, direct him to key philanthropic leadership roles, and help him increase diversity in major businesses as well as municipalities. And whereas John came to South Florida as a corporate vice president of Food Fair Pantry Pride grocery chain in 1986. John and his partners bought the radio station Rockin' Big Daddy, WRBD, to empower the black community. And whereas John and his wife Dorothy formed a partnership in the airport retail business under J.D. Ruffin and Associates, and later formed the Ruffin Group LLC, which provides business consulting services to those who face challenges in getting their business off the ground. He's also the CEO of Transocean Holdings, Inc., a company designated to create, facilitate, and implement trade and investments in Africa and the United States. And whereas Jan is the executive producer of the film, Tranquil Inferno, a story of Tulsa, Tulsa's Black Wall Street, John and his wife Dorothy have graciously committed to establishing a 100,000 endowed scholarship for students at Florida Memorial University. Whereas John has received numerous awards in Florida and nationally for businesses, civic and educational volunteer services. He served as vice chair of the Florida Memorial University Board of Trustees. He's a founding member of the Board of Governors of the Huizenga School of Business and Entrepreneurship, Nova Southeastern University. John has led the UNCF fundraising campaigns in South Florida for 25 years, raising millions of dollars. 100,000 John W. Ruffin Jr. UNICEF endowed scholarship is established in South Florida. And whereas John is married to his lovely wife, Dorothy Walton Ruffin, for 40 plus years. And they have 2 children and 2 grandchildren. They spend their time now in Coral Springs, Florida, and Chatham County, North Carolina. Here's the important part of it. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Broward County, Florida, that the board hereby designates Friday, September 20th, 2019, as Trustee Emeritus Dr. John W. Ruffin Day in Broward County, Florida.
Thank you, Commissioner Holness. We also asked the President to come and present to Ms. Dottie Ruffin. In addition, I won't read the entire proclamation, but I also would like to say on behalf of Congressman Alcee Hastings, we have a proclamation also recognizing Dr. John W. Ruffin Jr. In his congressional district, so we have the proclamation from Congressman Alcee Hastings as well. Wasn't this an amazing evening? All right. Let us all stand before we dismiss. And because of the work that Mr. Ruffin delivered to this community and to this university, and to all of you who stand with him, who have supported him, who have come out tonight, we're very honored for your presence. And I ask that you hug someone before you leave this evening and share the love with the person next to you and the person behind you. And I bid you a good well and a safe travel back to your destinations. Thank you.